I'm Brian.
I'm Janet.
And we are
Distinctive.
distinctive. Oh, I totally forgot this. Oh, I gotta get ready here. Okay. I think now I'm Disneyfied enough.
All right,
Okay.
much more distinctive.
Yeah, much more distinctive.
So we have the name Distinctive because we are adult Disney nerds. So you may be aware of the acronym DINK, dual income, no kids, and this is us. And we also are huge Disney fans. So we thought we would make a video series about people who like to go to Disney, sans kids.
Yes, and I know there's a couple other people trying to do similar things here, but we're going to focus explicitly on how to enjoy Disney without having any children. So if you're looking for videos about what's the best thing to do with children, or is a good place to get a rest as with children, or any of those kind of tips and tricks, this is not the video for you.
But if you're looking for a place for a rest to avoid children, you're in the right place.
You're absolutely in the right place.
And to set the mood, we will have our magic word.
Every episode will have a magic word, and this will be the drinking word of the day.
So get your adult beverages ready. Go ahead, pause the video, we'll wait.
And today's magic word is kids. How appropriate.
So every time you hear the word kids, you should take a drink of your frosty beverage of choice.
So let's go right into our first topic today, which is the top 5 reasons why adults should do Disney. And so we'd like to, before we get into the topic, we'd like to do a little game with you guys. It's based off of the Marry, Kiss, Kill game. We call it Keep, Update, or Tear Down. So we're each going to give a set of 3 rides from one of the Disney World theme parks, and we're going to give our list as to what we would keep and why we'd or update it and tear down. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go first. We're going to pick Epcot today. Ooh. And I'm going to go with, let's go with Frozen and Test Track.
Ooh.
And Journey into Imagination with Figment.
Ah, you're killing me. You're killing me. All right, well, so you're making me come clean on the first video as a Figment aficionado. I love me some Figment. I love the character much more than the ride. So I'm gonna have to put that one as my update. So you had a Dreammaker, right, in the original Figment. I never read the original Figment. I'm too young to have read the original Figment. But I have seen videos online. If you haven't seen those videos, I recommend you check out original Figment. And that was generally considered a really decent ride. So I think if you update Figment, bring it back kind of toward where it was as an original, you could make it good. And then Figment would stay in Epcot. I really think he should be the Epcot mascot. I don't know what Duffy the Bear is doing, but he needs to get out and make some room for Figment.
I agree, Figment.
All right, so then the other 2 were Frozen
and Test Track.
That's a toughie. So Frozen was just updated, so it would be a waste of money to tear it down now. I like Frozen. I don't think that they wrecked the pavilion with that intellectual property insertion.
Fits in.
They had Maelstrom. Maelstrom was good. Frozen uses the same track, right? So the ride is equally exciting. It's just got more of that
just a little short
Disney magic in it there, so it is a little short. Test Track, I got to tear down Test Track. I'm going to keep Frozen. I'm going to tear down Test Track. Even though I like the update on Test Track, I mean, I go 60 miles an hour in my convertible every day, so it's not really that exciting a ride for me.
All right,
so 3 from Epcot for you. I'm going to give you the Grand Fiesta Tour with the Tres Caballeros.
Okay.
The Test Track.
And
because I'm curious, I'm going to give you Living with the Land.
Living with the Land. That is difficult. I mean, I think a lot of people are probably going to disagree. I'm going to go keep on Living with the Land. I think it fits in with the central idea behind Epcot, what it was supposed to be, quite nicely. It's one of the only rides that I think, as an edutainment ride, is not boring. So yeah, I have to keep living with the land.
I concur.
And you gave me Test Track and what was the other one again?
The Ground Fiesta
Ground
tour.
Fiesta. Oh man. I'm going to do update on Test Track.
You just updated it.
I know, but it's not really highlighting latest technology in the automotive industry. They could focus it either more on, the automatic driving, driverless cars. They could focus it more on that, and it would be much more entertaining. At least it'd be cutting edge. I think if they do that, it would be much more interesting of a ride. But I gotta tear down, unfortunately, Grand Fiesta Tour.
Oh, I was really hoping you would say they'd do a Coco overlay.
Okay, I screw up. I switch to Coco overlay, update, tear down, Test Track there. That's it. I agree.
Yeah, so Test Track is the loser on keep, definitely. Update, tear down.
Let's get into our main topic today, top 5 reasons why adults should do Disney. And we're going to go number 5 first.
All right, so you want me to start?
You're going to start. You do number 5
first. Okay, number 5 for me is that it has less intense rides. So since Disney World is for kids, and most people think of it for kids, most of the rides are kid-friendly rides. That was 3, if you keep track. And so that means that most of the rides are less intense. And I actually really like that. I'm not a thrill seeker. I'm not one of these people who wants to get on all the big roller coasters and go upside down. And the fear of death is not entertainment for me. So I appreciate the less intense rides. I like to go on the teacups. I like to go even on Dumbo. I like just an enjoyable time and, take it a little easy and just, okay, that was fun. And it took 4 minutes, moving on, not stand in a queue for an hour for the biggest, flashiest. It goes upside down and twists 8 times and you may or may not lose your head on this ride. Yeah, not for me. So I like the less intense rides. That's number 5 on my list.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally agree. I don't know why I'm still wearing this, but I would totally agree on less intense rides because predominantly I feel like immersion is not you don't get immersed into a ride if you're feared for your life. I mean, it's a different reaction. Your emotional connection is more of a fight or flight response. It's not about succumbing to the world around you, the atmosphere around you. You just kind of, all that goes out the window and it's just a chemical response. So that, I completely agree that, for immersion, less intense rides makes sense. Yeah.
All right, number 5 on your list.
Number 5 on my list. Okay. I have interact with your favorite childhood characters.
Ooh.
So yeah, yes, even as an adult, you can, do the meet and greets, and it's not that strange. Well, at least
less creepy if you have someone with you, or definitely. Particularly if you're a couple.
If you're a woman, you can be doing this on your own, and no one's really gonna think anything. If you're a single guy, kind of doing this is a little weird. But if you do it as a couple, totally normal. So don't be shy. Interact with them. Ask them questions. But ultimately, it's like you remember, reading up on, Peter Pan and watching even the movie Captain Hook, and Tinkerbell. I mean,
you mean Hook with Robin Williams?
Yeah, Robin. Yeah, of course, that was great. And Tinkerbell. So I mean, ultimately, it kind of brings you back to that era of your life where things were simpler, and it was just an easier time to have fun, and you didn't really overthink things. So yeah, so number 5 for me is interacting with your favorite childhood character.
And I don't know if I'm jumping on your list there, but the character meals actually are also okay. Usually the food is but it's a way to meet more characters faster, particularly if you don't want to stand in a queue for one or waste one of your fast passes meeting a character.
Yeah, you get longer time with them that way. So.
Yeah. All right, number 4 on my list is typically if you go as a couple, you're going either just as your twosome or with a small group. And usually if you're going with a small group, it's with similar people to you. So like going on a Disney vacation with your closest friends, right? And you're a foursome. But typically you're going to be going with people who are close in age to you, similar incomes to you, right? The sort of people that you just hang out with all the time. So what that converts to is easy planning. It's not difficult to find something that everybody's going to be game to go do. It's a lot easier than if you've got, little kids and grandma and 3 or 4 people, kind of middle-aged. It can be tricky to find something that's going to work for everyone across those age brackets. If you don't have kids with you, your life gets a lot easier.
Yeah.
From a planning perspective.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just the two of us, obviously it's very easy. We know what each other's likes and dislikes are. But even going to Disney on, a double date, if you will, where you do a couples trip, I think it's very easy to find rides that, all of you are going to like and you're all going to agree with. And typically you're going to have those adults who like to do more planning, a la my wife. And you're going to have adults like me who are kind of like spur of the moment, and that's a good balance. And you'll find that even within the groups of adults. So it's a lot easier, and people think, oh, Disney vacation, lots of planning. I'm going to, be frustrated and sweat all the details. But really, as adults, it's a lot easier to manage. So I agree with that.
That's true. You're not dealing with the intricacies of, oh, so-and-so's nap time is at this specific time, so we can't have lunch at this time. All of that goes away if you don't have kids with you who have more restrictive schedules. All right, what's up?
All right, number 4 for me, variety of theming. This is kind of hard to explain, but every park has little different lands in them, and each land has its own theme. And so you might not emotionally connect with all of them, but there's going to be at least 1 or 2 of the lands that the theming is just going to bring you back. For me, it's at Magic Kingdom, it's been Frontierland, right? And it's just it just brings me back to where you do like
oh, you want to be a cowboy again.
A cowboy again. Cowboy. Yeah, I want to be a cowboy. Cowboys and Indians kind of thing, pop guns and all those things. I know they're not like PC today anymore, but
no more pop guns, no weapons at Disney.
No. But so there's such a variety of different theming that you're gonna find something that's gonna just you're gonna melt into. I feel like.
I'm trying to think what it is for me. I like if we're talking Magic Kingdom, I like Adventureland. But that's mostly just the adult.
Adventure is out there.
It is.
Okay.
All right, number 3, moving right along. Okay, so number 3, I wrote bragging rights. I like being the person who knows the stuff. I like being the person who gets to be the tour guide, that if my friends say, oh, we're going to Disney soon, do you have any recommendations? They know to call me or Facebook me, and that I will give them all the great places, and I will know things that they may not know about which rides are good to get fast passes for, and which rides are friendlier to younger kids or older kids, or what to do with their teenager, or where to get a drink, all these sorts of things. So I particularly like it if I can go along with my friends, right? And then I get to kind of play tour guide and say, oh, check that out over there. That's the let me tell you this interesting little factoid that I got by being way too involved in Disney and reading way too much about Disney. Also, I get to be that Disney pro for my breeder friends, right? So when they need all the advice about what to do with kids, even though we don't have kids, I actually can give them a lot of insight because I'm in the parks a lot, so I can observe what works and what doesn't work with regards to kids. And then also I can give them kind of advanced information, because I read a lot of blogs and I watch a lot of other Disney videos, and a lot of those things are targeted toward people with kids, so I get a lot of that advice even though it doesn't apply to me, and I can pass it along without them having to watch 18 videos.
Oh, so in short, you like to be show-offy know-it-all.
I am a show-offy know-it-all. I own it.
I actually like that answer for a totally different reason, but related. I've I feel like being the Disney, nerds that we are, it actually gives us a common topic to really share and, you know, um, talk with our friends who do have children. So I find that's tough to connect, being that we're, not going to have children. It's often
Not
tough
on the
to
baby train.
not the baby train, but it's difficult to connect with the friends who do have kids because they know our situation. But so I think being Disney World fans is something that they can relate to as wanting to take their children or have taken their children. So at least like it can break the ice. It can be a conversation starter, and it can deepen relationships there too, even with the, you know.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's way better than what you were saying. Number three for me, inspiring nighttime shows. I put the word inspiring there, I guess for a reason. I feel like every time, especially in Magic Kingdom, but I mean that the nighttime show there, no matter what nighttime show it is, I always connect with. But I feel like every time I watch the fireworks show, I feel like it's almost like the world's at peace for a split second. Like
Aw.
yeah, it's like everything's right, everything's okay. There's hope for the world, right? Kind of a feeling. It's just a brighter, positive outlook you have after being involved with those nighttime shows because I feel like that's the message that they're trying to convey with all of their characters and shots of the different movies that they showed during the show. So yeah, so inspiring nighttime shows is number three for me.
All right. Good one, dear.
All right.
Number two is kind of related to what my number four was. I was talking about touring with small groups of similar type of people. And you touched on a little bit when we were talking about that, is just schedule flexibility. So you don't need a really rigid plan as much as you would if you have children with you. Because if you have kids along, you have to, think about what are their normal meal times, what are their normal bedtimes, all of these things, which are really important to consider if you have kids, but are not so important if you're just a group of adults. So you can schedule dinner for 8:30 and it's fine, right? Or you can just say, well, we'll just pop into a restaurant. Not ideal, but depending on where you are, maybe you're going to go out of the park just to someplace at a resort, and you don't need a reservation per se. You got to wait 40 minutes. Not a big deal. If you have kids with you, waiting 40 minutes could be a problem, right? Because they're going to get bored. If you're adults, you just go to the bar, you have a drink, you hang out, and the next thing you know, your table's ready. So you get a lot more flexibility if you are not so linked to needing a schedule to keep the little ones occupied / kind of on their normal routine.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, and it kind of brings to mind another topic, another tip. And I think a lot of Disney vloggers like to act like they know everything, and like there's only one way to do something at Disney.
I like to know, like
she doesn't
show off, it all right here.
But there isn't one way to do anything at Disney. There's not one right way or the best way. And we'll cover in other videos is there's plenty of ways to do Disney with the spur of the moment. We've done spur of the moment Disney tricks, which is people say counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense. Why do it? It's a waste of time. But there's a way to do it and be very happy and enjoy yourself.
We should mention we live in Georgia, so we usually have to travel, but not so far. So.
But then there's times where we do a lot of planning, and those are typically longer trips. But there's not one right way to do Disney, especially like she said, with the flexibility of not having kids. You can, ebb and flow as you need. So I love that answer. So number two for me, eat and drink around the world. Now I know that this is kind of specific to one park, being Epcot. However, it's not just, it's not just going through the different nations that they have, but also all of the different festivals that they host. So Food and Wine being my favorite, but all the other, even Flower and Garden, they have different booths set up of different nations around the world that aren't necessarily represented by pavilions. So you have an ample opportunity, no matter what time of year you go and visit, to go to Epcot and really get a sample for all the different flavors of cuisines that you probably wouldn't experience elsewhere. And it's, if you do it right, like with, at least two people, I always recommend all these things are like sampling portion sizes traditionally at these booths. Share. They're always, I know it's small portions they give you, and like, oh, this is not going to fill me up, but don't think like an American, when you go and eat, it's meant, the whole idea is to get as many samples as you can.
Yeah, think tapas restaurant.
So you share it, and it's great. You get samplings of different cuisines. Same thing with the beer and the wines. They give you little, 4 ounces or 6 ounces, whatever it is. Share it though, and do the flights when you see like you like 3 or 4 of them. So definitely eating and drinking around the world, number 2 reason why adults should be doing Disney.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, I think that's really good because it's also something that you can get a little more out of it if you don't have kids. So you can still eat and drink around the world with kids in tow, but you're gonna not imbibe quite so much because you're caring for another human, right? So you don't want to overindulge. And also you're probably gonna go a little faster maybe because there's not a lot in World Showcase. They've done some, right? Mm-hmm. So there's some stuff in World Showcase for the kiddos, but for the most part, you really need kind of just that space to relax and mosey and hang out for 20 minutes. And that can be hard depending on the age of your kids. I would say like if you have teenagers, you probably could still do that and have a good time. But
I don't care if they do or not. So go ahead. What's number 1?
Number 1. Okay, so number 1 is that you get to act like a child. So you get to take simple pleasure in those little joys that you have to react like an adult to, right? So I have an example. So we went for our birthday a couple of years ago, and we did a character meal.
We have the same birthday.
And yeah, we're both born on the same day. So we went for our birthday. We got a character meal at a Crystal Palace. And they gave me a cupcake at the end of the meal because I was wearing my birthday button saying that it was my birthday. And
but it was my birthday too.
You also got a cupcake.
Oh, I did? Okay.
So I ate your cupcake, but that's beside the point. But they gave me this cupcake, right? And so it was enjoyable because I was able to kind of take childlike joy in my cupcake. Oh, I have a cupcake because I'm special and I'm going to sit here and be gleeful about this cupcake. Whereas if you're at work and your colleagues give you a cupcake for your birthday, that's nice, but there's a certain expected adult world reaction to that, right? You can't go, oh my gosh, a cupcake, look, it's so cute, I love the sprinkles and all that, right? It's not really something that you get to do very often out in the normal adult world, but at Disney World, it's totally cool. If you want to react to something in childlike joy, the cast members are totally into it. They like that. They're happy to see that they made you happy. And if you responded like a 6-year-old, then that's cool because the park is full of 6-year-olds and that's kind of what they're going for. So occasionally it's fun to just be a child about things and take joy in small things. And I enjoy that aspect of being at Disney World.
Well, like wearing Minnie Mouse ears.
Exactly.
When you're a guy.
Sure.
Yeah. That's totally cool.
Or when you're a girl.
Oh, well, that's probably more.
These are my ears, by the way, in case you were wondering.
They could be mine. Okay, I'm moving on. Yes, so my number 1 is exactly the same. I wrote feel/play like a kid again. Pretty much the same thing. But mine comes with.
You want your ears back?
It's okay. But mine comes with a little story as an example. But
is it a cupcake?
No, it's not a cupcake. No. I'm kind of a little goofball. I'm silly. I like to do silly things on the spur of the moment. And one of the things I like to do is I like to skip. I love to try and get my wife to skip, but there is no place on planet Earth that I can get her to skip apart from Disney World. But she will skip at Disney World. Hand in hand down Main Street. Why not? Absolutely. And we get like big skips because we're big adults. We got long legs. So we're skipping at fastest pace. Actually, it's the fastest way to get through the park. If you want to get to the back of the park as quickly as possible, skip your way. That'll totally work. And people will get out of your way. I guarantee you they will.
Yeah, because I think you're a crazy
Yeah,
man.
well, we are a little crazy. But yeah, so I mean, it warms my heart when I get to skip with you, because skipping by yourself is really sad. It's really sad. Okay. So yeah, so those are the top 5 reasons on why we believe adults should do Disney. So we hope you enjoyed it. We like to close off every video with a quote from the man himself, Disney. And today's quote is?
I forgot it.
You forgot it.
I have it
Okay.
written down.
It's okay. There it is.
Adults are only kids grown up. How apropos.
Wow, how appropriate. So thanks for watching. And this is Brian.
Janet.
And we are distinctive. See you.